God has a purpose behind every one of your problems.
America's positive, pragmatic Bob Goshen.
Welcome to Positive Pragmatic. Man, I'm excited that you're here today. Somebody came up to me the other day and said, Bob, where did you come up with the name Positive Pragmatic? Well, I had the opportunity to run with a gentleman named Zig Ziglar for many years. If you don't know, if you're too young to have ever heard of Zig Ziglar, may I ask that you at least go to YouTube, type in his name, and stand by. Probably one of the greatest orators that has ever lived when it comes to public speaking. And Zig and I became very good friends, and as time went on, he would bring me into his company to visit with his people on what he would have on a Monday morning for kind of a Bible study. Now, Positive Pragmatic started really when I first got to know Zig Ziglar, because if you know Zig Ziglar, you cannot be negative. I mean, you're either positive or you are dead, one of the two. He used to make a statement. There was this fish called Moby Dick, for some of you guys that are young, in a giant whale. And his statement was always, give me a rowboat and some tartar sauce and we'll get Moby Dick. And that was his whole philosophy in life. So I became very positive, and I'm positive today. Positive means not hypey positive, but just positive, believing that something good can come out of something bad. And let me share with you, this podcast is going to be teaching you how to find your way into the good out of things that are happening bad. Now, pragmatic is someone that thinks practically, someone that'll look at a challenge, somebody will look at a problem and think through it practically, not theoretically. Today we have so many people that are out there visiting about challenges and they respond theoretically. But this podcast is going to be looking at things and talk to you practically about how to solve them. So we're excited about that. That's how we came up with the name, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun because I like to have fun. It's going to be fast because I don't like long talking people. Some of you all understand. And it's going to be focused. In other words, I want to come to you giving you something. This whole idea of this podcast is simply this, folks. I've been around the sun now 78 years, and now I'm in the fourth quarter. I played college football, and if you guys ever watch them on the sideline on the fourth quarter, they're holding up four fingers. That means we're in the final part of this game. And that's when it's actually saying, suck it up, guys. You got to really suck it up. It's the fourth quarter. Well, this is my fourth quarter. That's practical. In other words, it's my fourth quarter. And what I want to do is share with some of you guys and gals that are in your first, second, and third quarter of life, and hopefully share some things that can help you, not only financially, but in your marriage and in relationships and whatever things that we found over the years, you know. I served in the service during the Vietnam era, and there was a statement at that time that simply said this: if you're going through a minefield, follow someone. You'll come home much taller. So I want to give you some insights. I'm not going to preach. I'm going to teach. Now, I've been called sometimes a preacher. I don't tell you the number of times I get off a platform and people say, Bob, you should have been a preacher. Well, I just get excited, okay? And I'm going to share some things. I'll share some things biblically. I'm going to share some things economically. We're just going to talk. And I want to give you some information. I want to give you some bullets in your life that'll make you stronger. Now, I'm going to do that from books that I've written, not books that somebody else has written. One of the books today that I'm running on taking off on God has a purpose behind every problem, is my book, Confident Hope. If you do not have that, email me and I'll get you one, or you can go to any of your bookstores or whatever to find it. The other one will be The Power of Layered Leadership, where we're going to be talking about leadership. Leadership in politics, leadership in corporate America, leadership in the churches, leadership everywhere. In other words, what are some of the things that you can do to improve leadership? And I'm not talking down. I'm saying these are things that I've learned after those many years going around the sun. And then my last one is 21 Days of Leadership Challenges. It's simply this: I can show you how to change some habits within 21 days. He uses circumstances to develop our character. See, with that statement that God is behind every problem, I want you to understand that it doesn't shock him on whatever problem you're in. I was talking to somebody on the phone before I came today, great gentleman, and we were visiting, and he was talking about a challenge that he was having, and he was kind of stressing, and his wife was stressing, and these sort of things. And I said, look, God has a purpose behind every problem. You know, in 22, our home burned down. My wife was diagnosed with Parkinson's. My son lost his wife in death. Those are some challenges, right? But behind every one of those challenges, God had a purpose, and what it is to draw us closer. So many of you today are there, you're businessmen, you're businesswomen, and some of these challenges that you're facing right now, whether it be marriage, whether it be drugs, whether it be alcohol, no matter what it is, I want you to know God has a purpose for that. So 24 hours a day, you and I are always having some sort of circumstances going on. None of us are immune. Have you noticed that? From pain and suffering. I've talked about in here how God uses problems to draw you closer to Him. That's number one. Number two, problems are going to force us to look towards Him instead of ourselves. Now, how do you fit this into your life? Because some of you are sitting there, you're saying, Bob, I don't believe in God. It's okay, He believes in you. And I'm not going to be preaching, but I have found if I'm going to talk about what has saved my marriage and saved me financially and saved me in so many different ways, without me talking about God and His presence on how He's corrected that, then I wouldn't be doing you justice. Because we've had the opportunity to live in mobile homes and mansions. We've traveled in, coach class to $65 million private jets with boardrooms and all that. So we've been from rags to riches. We understand all of that. And life isn't about money. Life is about how you respond. And this book, Confident Hopes, talks about everyone's on a train track. I used to think, my belief was that when God put us here on this earth, now listen to me here, He put us on a, Ferris wheel. Round and round, up and down, up, especially some of you entrepreneurs, right? But over the last several years, I've been thinking that that's not right. God didn't put us on that. I really believe in my belief that He put us on a set of railroad tracks, okay? And He put us on these railroad tracks at birth, and He's shooting us straight down those tracks. However, the challenge is, as we're going down those tracks, He's having us go in and out of tunnels. Some of you guys are in a tunnel right now. Some of you guys are in a financial tunnel. You're in a marital tunnel. Something's going on in your life. Some of these things, I don't know about you, some of them just pop up, and all of a sudden you wake up some morning and bam, here it is. Well, how do you respond when you're into that tunnel? And that's what this book is all about. In a very realistic, practical way. Again, I'm not a preacher, guys. I am not a preacher. I'm someone that's going to be delivering you information from my heart to help you in your life become better. And I do believe that you're going to receive it very, very well. See, what I talk about in this book is a grip. My whole life, I don't know about yours, it's been more like a salvage yard than a day at the beach. Can I get an uh-huh? Just about the time things are going good, bam, something happens. And I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute, every one of us have something going on right now. So how do we get through it? Well, here's what we have done, my wife and myself. Number one, we get a grip. See, my chapter in this book, one of them is Life is Recovery, so get a grip. Grip, what's grip? G1, God is in control, period. That settles it. You've got to encompass that. Well, you don't have to. You need to do all you can to encompass that in your soul. He is in control. God is not surprised by anything. And remember, He has a purpose in your pain. Woo! He's got a purpose in your pain. And that purpose is to draw you closer. So God is in control. He's sovereign, period. Number two, R is rejoice. You're in the middle of this situation. It's terrible. It's horrible. And you're telling me to rejoice. Yes, you don't rejoice because of the problem. You're rejoicing in the problem. Why? You better find a way to release your stress. You better find a way to look up and say, hey, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to get through this rejoicing, knowing that you are in control. The I for grip is initiate. Initiate your faith. Our whole life, Kay and I, we've lived by faith. Matter of fact, she has a statement. It goes like this. Faith, her definition is believing something is so when it's not so, so it can be so. Woo, think about that. And I believe that you have to have not some hyper crazy, just faith. Over and over again, when I would read the Bible, it kept talking about faith and faith. So G-R-I and last is P. To get a grip, you got to pray. Oh, God, get me out of this mess. That's not the prayer. Oh, Lord, heal me. That's not the prayer. It's so, I believe in healing. I believe that can happen. But what God promises you and me, and in this book we'll talk about, is He'll give us wisdom. So anytime we're in the middle of something, Kay and I just drop to our knees and we say, Lord, give us the wisdom. Give us the wisdom to sustain this, to get through this, and more importantly, to learn from this. So that's just a little bit of what I'll be sharing in the future and be talking to you about. You're going to learn some things that I believe is going to help you. We're going to be talking about economics. We're going to be talking about, somebody said, don't talk about political. I'm not going to be talking about political items, but I'm going to be talking about leadership in the political world. Listen, guys, you have a great future. You are in the first, second, or third quarter. I used to think there's no way this country's going to go on with some of the people that I see in this country. That's not true. I'm now beginning to see a new generation rising up, and you're part of it. That is going to be a new moral leadership that's going to take this country by storm, mentally, physically, spiritually, and socially. So I want this podcast to be a part of your journey. I want you to take from it what you want. Think of me as like going through a cafeteria line. Okay? Take what you want and just leave the rest to the cafeteria. And I'm going to do all that I can to give you something that can give you a little bit of hook in your life that'll make you stronger. Listen, tune in to all the podcast channels. We'll be up on Spotify, LinkedIn, but we're going to have everything up. And also, my email is bob@bobgoshen.com. Email me. I want to know what you need. I want to know what you're thinking, because I don't want to just waste my time or yours. I want it to be meaningful. I told God when we were down and out so many times, Lord, if you ever bring us out of this, I want to help people learn, teach them how to get out of their struggles. And I will never, ever forget what it felt like. So until our next podcast, we want you to have a fantastic, great day.